Hey there guys, this is Jay from Decals Props, and this is the first prop vlog that I'm doing on this channel. I've been filming using the new Instagram Stories function on my Instagram account. If you want to follow along live as I post these, then please go over to my Instagram page, give it a like and follow along. But this video is basically a combination of a week's worth of clips as I filmed them as I was working. And this is basically going to form a little vlog series that I'm going to post as a combination hit on here every week. This is a new experiment for me. The format may be tweaked as I go along. If you have any suggestions, then please let me know in the comments down below. But as it is right now, this is what I've come up with using the function. So hopefully you'll enjoy it and you'll find it somewhat informative. So yeah, here we go. Right, I've now got to sort out the lighting fixtures for the sides of the helmets here. Now to do that, before I would solder together some LEDs and some resistors with some battery clips, but I've got a bit of a change now. I found these amazing LED torch lights that you plug into USB. God knows why you'd want one of these on your PC. But the good thing about them is they were 30 cents each, which is cheaper than the LEDs and the resistors combined, and they actually have everything built in. The great things about these when you crack them open is I've got the surround, which is great and reflective. I've got the LED built in. There's a nice resistor in there as well, and 2 leads. And with a little bit of customization, I've been able to line them all up and fit in the extra LED that will run through a circuit, and then fit them to a switch and a power supply. And amazingly, once these are fitted, they're cheaper than the old ones and far better quality with the proper reflective parts on them. So this is great, a great upgrade. There's a quick demo if you join the circuit up. As you can see, fantastic lights and everything feeds through correctly. So these are pretty damn awesome. So yeah, always keep your eyes open for good finds, because I mean these torches and 2 other cases I got underneath for less than 20 quid will last me freaking ages. So yeah. As you can see on the sides of the helmet, there's this raised partition part here, and that's where I mount the switches. So I just need to measure out the hole, cut it out and fit the switch. Now to help me to do this quickly across the 6 helmets, I made a little template of the whole of the diameter of these switches, so they should just slot in rather nicely. And once I've used that pattern, I end up with something like that, which gives me a good guide to be able to cut the switch out with. And as always, when it comes to cutting out resin, I'm going to be using my nice trusty multi-cutting bit. Right, so I've cut that out, and it's not the cleanest cut in the world. It needs a bit of tidying up. And to do that, I'm going to use this really nice fine diamond file. It sands really nicely on all the surfaces, on all the edges, so it gives me a really good element of control. And once you're done, you end up with a nice clean slot for the switch to slot itself into. Just need to apply a little pressure to fit it. So yeah, it's really, really cool. All I have to do now is repeat the process across everything. So right now all the holes are in place for the switches. I can start painting these lids. I've just laid down some white primer for a label that needs to be applied later. So I just need to cover this up with some masking tape and then start applying some silver paint. Right, so I've masked off the area and I've got my silver spray paint, so let's get to start painting these helmets. Right, now that the silver paint layer has been laid down on these helmets, I can get to the next stage, which involves a little bit of masking tape and a little bit of toothpaste. Now I'll get to the toothpaste part in a minute, but around the bottom edge of this I want it to look weathered and frayed, so when the green coat goes on there's a contrast. Now to do that, I've taken a run of masking tape and cut it in half as roughly as possible, and this is going to create my masked weathered edge. And now with the masking tape applied, you can see the look of the frayed edge that I'm going to get once I paint this over with the top coat of green, and it's going to look nice and weathered. Now this side pod area here, because it's exposed to the elements, I want it to look worn and battered like it's been in a war zone or a desert and had sand and grit and everything bombarding it. So this is where the toothpaste comes in. Now to apply the toothpaste to the helmet, I'm going to use the end of a paintbrush. I'm just going to apply a little bit of toothpaste to, you can apply it to any sort of working surface. I've just got this old plug of resin lying around, so I just use it as a dispenser. Now I roll the toothpaste around the toothbrush like this, just enough to cover it. You don't want to get it absolutely drenched, just enough to create a nice layer. And then once you've got your paintbrush coated, you take your helmet and then you just start applying it to the edges where you would normally get some wear and tear. So like the corners would get dinged up, so especially along here. And just try and be a bit more random with it, like I'm creating swatch patterns, and just think realistically, like where the weathering would be. I suggest looking up weathering of like paint online, like just get some reference photos so you get a good idea. I've made so many of these helmets now that I've got a good grasp of like paint weathering for this sort of style at least. So yeah, just try and be loose with it. Don't try and keep to a pattern with every helmet. Just let it be organic is probably the best suggestion. Now the front of the helmet here will obviously get bombarded with the wind hitting it, so there's going to be a bit more weathering on this side, so I'm going to be a bit more liberal. I'm going to try and think of grit and stones and just things flashing through in high winds. The story of the character will actually help you with decisions like this. I mean, everything on the character should tell a story, so weathering and such should be all part of that, and it will help you and influence the design of your paintwork, etc. for stuff like this. Just a bit more around this mini torch section here. The good thing about this is that if you think you've overdone it, you can always smudge away the toothpaste. There's nothing permanent right now until you place the paint, so you can always just easily wipe it off and start again until you're happy with it. Yeah, I think we'll call that a day for that one. Now the silver on here is merely a base coat, and by applying the toothpaste like this, it's going to give me an actual weathering pattern when I apply the darker coat on top and then scrape this away. Now the best top coat I found for doing these NCR helmets is Ford Magnum Grey. This is the Halfords brand, but I'm pretty sure you can find it in any other automotive store. Now the good thing about this paint that it's not too dark, so it allows the weathering that goes on top of it to pop really well, and because it's automotive paint it's really hard wearing, which is great for masks. So yeah, just going to apply this over the toothpaste layer, so, and then wait for it to dry and peel it off with some warm water. And that's what it looks like when it's applied properly all over. Just need to wait for it to dry now. And while I'm waiting for that to dry, I can repeat the process 5 more times. Right, now that the paint's dried on these side canisters, I'm going to apply the decals on top of the toothpaste just to add that extra little bit of weathering. So I need to apply the decals here and here, so let's cut those out. For the decals, I'm going to use this pattern I made for my vinyl cutter. Everything's all measured and made to size already, and I just need to print out 6 of these for the 6 helmets. I just need to check my cut settings, everything's in place, speed's good, and send it to the printer. And away we go. This is a silhouette portrait vinyl cutter, by the way, just in case anyone wants to know what it was. These are going to take a while to cut out now, so I'll come back to you when I'm ready to start applying them to the helmet. Right, that took a while, but I finally got them, so I've started to cut them out and peel away the masking areas that I need. So let's get to applying these to the helmet. That's the decals applied. I just need to get out my airbrush and apply a little bit of white to these, and we can go from there. Now I need to go light with the coats on this, so very thin layers and just build it up slowly. So that's the white layer applied. As you can see, I applied some white over the top of these decals here. Now this is to stop the black that I'm going to paint over it from bleeding under. Right, after painting all the decals on these helmets, it's time to start painting these lids green. Now the green I use for this is a custom mixer that I came up with a while ago. It's all acrylic based with a hint of metallic copper in it as well. I can take my brush and start applying the green on the helmet. If I can get it in the camera correctly. There we go. Now that all the green's applied, this is where the masking tape comes in. I get to peel it off, and as you can see, it starts to leave a nice weathered edge around the bottom of the helmet. Now the silver line down the bottom might seem a bit stark compared to the paint on top, but once all the other grime weathering's been placed on this, it'll blend in and the whole thing will come together. Now that the green's laid down, it's time to just mask off the areas for a few more white decals, and I can start weathering this. So that's the markings added to the back of this helmet and to all of these as well. One of my last jobs for the day was to get all these mask sections primed and ready for paint tomorrow. So that's my job for today done. Time to go and have a cup of tea. Let's get back to it. I've just applied a rough coat of metallic silver onto these mask sections, and now I'm going to start doing the same I did with the helmets with the toothpaste. As you can see, I've liberally applied the toothpaste to create the wear and tear pattern. I just need to apply the darker top coat and then wipe off the toothpaste. And there we go, as always, 1 down and 5 to go. Well, that's the 6 of those, all painted. I need to wait for the paint to dry now, so I can start rubbing off the toothpaste to get the weathering effect. Also, a little tip when you're spraying stuff like this, I always try and wear latex gloves, because otherwise your hand will end up like this, and you end up scrubbing paint off for 2 days. Now, to remove the toothpaste from the paint, I'm going to use the back of an old bath sponge. This stuff is hard enough that it's going to get rid of all the underlying toothpaste, but soft enough that it's not going to actually scratch the paintwork. So the paint's set and the toothpaste is ready to come off. So you're going to take your scrubbing brush and go dip it into some murky water at this point, just to give it something to work with. And you just basically just start spinning, well, grinding away slowly but surely. The toothpaste is going to froth up, but at least it smells nice. You can see it's already starting to show the battle damaged look underneath all here. So it's going to continue this process all the way around the helmet, obviously, until all the toothpaste has come loose, and then just give it another rinse when I'm done, just to get all this toothpaste foam off, and we'll see what we end up with. And here we are, once it's all been washed away and dried off. Get a proper grizzled metal look. And again, the markings on this do look quite harsh right now, but when you add the black weathering and the other grime and details, this will really knock this back and make it more subtle, and then it just adds the overall weathered effect. Now that's all the toothpaste removed from all the mask sections, and now, just like the helmets, it's time to mask off the areas for the white decal section. I've applied the masking details to the correct areas, so I can just start applying the white to these and then repeat the process over the 5 other helmets. So here we go. And here comes the most satisfying bit, peeling off the decals. Nice and crisp. And here it is with all the decal areas peeled off. This is a part of the process where having an airbrush really comes in handy. For those of you who want to know, the airbrush I use is an Iwata Revolution CR attached to an Iwata Studio Series SmartJet Pro compressor. Here we are with the helmets all decaled up. I now just need to sort out the electronics inside and a few other fittings, then we can start the weathering, so that's next. And there we go, that was the first prop vlog. Let me know what you liked and didn't like about the series, what ideas that you would have for expanding this, or things you would like me to focus on a bit more. And yeah, just let me know your general comments down below. And don't forget to hit this video with a like, hit the subscribe button, and yeah, share it around. And hopefully I'll see you again soon for next week's prop vlog, whatever that form that may take. But yeah, thank you very much guys, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.